The Lincoln High class of '99 25-year reunion was supposed to be a celebration. But as Tyler Tank Morrison stepped out of his midnight black Bentley at the exclusive Grandview Manor, tossing his keys to the valet like they were pocket change, nobody was celebrating. The whispers started immediately. Hushed conversations behind champagne glasses. Nervous glances exchanged between former classmates who remembered exactly what Tank had done to earn his reputation. "I can't believe he actually showed up," someone murmured. After what he did to poor Benji Chin. Tank adjusted his custom Italian suit, his Rolex catching the light as he straightened his tie. He looked every inch the successful businessman he'd become. Confident, powerful, untouchable. But as he strutted toward the entrance, Tank missed something important. A small group of security personnel stationed discreetly around the venue. Professional. Expensive. The kind of protection that only comes with serious money. Tank had no idea that tonight, his past was about to collide with his future in the most spectacular way possible. The reunion was just getting started. Tank Morrison had been the king of Lincoln High, but not in any way that mattered. While other kids worried about grades or college applications, Tank's specialty was destruction. He didn't just beat people up. That was too simple. Tank preferred psychological warfare. He'd steal lunch money, then convince the cafeteria staff that his victims were lying about being hungry. He'd spread rumors that destroyed reputations, then act like the hero when he offered to help his targets rebuild their social standing. His favorite victim had been Benji Chun, the quiet kid who'd made the mistake of being smarter than Tank in every class they shared. Tank had made Benji's life hell for 4 straight years, culminating in a senior year prank that left Benji humiliated in front of the entire school. Now, 25 years later, Tank was the successful owner of Morrison Construction, the biggest building company in 3 counties. He had money, influence, and a reputation that opened doors throughout the state. Success had only made him more arrogant. The moment Tank walked into the reunion, he was back in high school mode. He snapped his fingers at the waitstaff like they were servants, name-dropped the mayor twice in his first conversation, and made sure everyone noticed his expensive watch and designer shoes. Tank Morrison. "Oh my God, look at you," squealed Jessica Martinez, though her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. "Hey there, Jess," Tank replied, already scanning the room over her shoulder. You look exactly the same." It wasn't a compliment. That's when Tank spotted him, sitting quietly at a corner table, wearing a simple black suit that looked like it came from a department store. Benji Chun. Still small, still quiet, still looking like the same pathetic loser Tank remembered. Tank's lips curved into a predatory smile. Some things never changed, and tonight was going to be even more fun than he'd expected. Benji Chun sat alone at table 12, nursing a glass of water while his former classmates reminisced about parties he'd never been invited to. At 43, he looked almost exactly as he had in high school, slight build, gentle eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses, and an air of quiet intelligence that had always made bullies like Tank see him as an easy target. His navy blue suit was clean and well-fitted, but it clearly wasn't expensive. His watch was practical, not flashy. His shoes were polished but worn. To everyone in the room, Benji looked like exactly what they expected. A nice guy who'd probably become a teacher or maybe worked in IT somewhere. Successful enough to afford the reunion dinner, but nothing special. The contrast couldn't have been starker when Tank approached, his $1,000 shoes clicking against the marble floor like a countdown to destruction. Well, Tank announced loudly enough for half the room to hear. "If it isn't Benji Chin. Still flying solo, I see." Benji looked up calmly, his expression polite but reserved. "Hello, Tyler. You look well." "Tyler." Tank laughed, a sound that made several nearby classmates wince. "Come on, Benji. We're all friends here. It's Tank. You remember Tank, don't you?" The room had gone uncomfortably quiet. Conversations stopped. Phone cameras discreetly turned their way. "I remember," Benji said simply. "So tell me, buddy," Tank continued, sitting down uninvited. "Still tinkering with computers?" Benji replied calmly. "I do work with technology, yes." "Figures," Tank smirked. "I own Morrison Construction, biggest company in 3 counties. Maybe you've heard of it." Benji hadn't touched his water, but his fingers tightened slightly around the glass. "I may have seen the name around." Tank's smile widened. He was just getting started. The perfect opportunity came when reunion organizer Sarah Williams tapped her champagne glass and called for attention. "Everyone, if I could have your attention, please. We're going to do our traditional sharing circle, where anyone who wants to can stand up and tell us what they've been up to since graduation." Tank's eyes lit up like a predator who just spotted wounded prey. This was even better than he'd hoped. Several classmates took turns sharing updates about their careers, families, and accomplishments. The mood was warm and celebratory until Tank decided it was his turn. "Well, since everyone's sharing," Tank announced, standing up without being called on, "I think we should hear from everyone, including some of our quieter classmates." His gaze locked directly on Benji. "Come on, Benji. Don't be shy. Tell everyone what you've been up to." Benji remained seated, clearly hoping to avoid the spotlight. "I'm fine just listening, thank you." "Oh, come on," Tank pressed, his voice carrying that familiar edge of menace disguised as friendliness. "We're all dying to know. What does the great Benji Chin do for work? Still working with computers, huh?" The room went dead silent. Everyone knew about Benji's parents' restaurant, how it had struggled for years before finally closing down when his father got sick. Actually, Tank continued, warming to his theme, I drive by that old strip mall sometimes. Saw the for lease sign where Golden Dragon used to be. Shame about your dad's health, by the way. I heard the medical bills really cleaned you guys out. A few people gasped. Even by Tank's standards, this was crossing a line. Benji's composure cracked slightly. His father had died 3 years ago, and the medical bills had indeed been devastating. Tyler, please. It's Tank, he corrected with a cruel smile. And hey, no judgment here. We can't all be successful, right? Some of us are meant to be winners, he gestured to himself. And some of us are meant to be, well, let's just say support staff. The laughter was nervous and uncomfortable, but there was some. Enough to encourage Tank to keep going. I mean, look at you, Benji. Same glasses, same shy little smile, probably still get nervous talking to girls. Some of us grow up, some of us just don't. But hey, there's nothing wrong with being ordinary. The world needs people like you to make people like me look good. Benji stood up slowly, his face flushed with embarrassment and anger. I think I should go. Oh no, don't leave. Tank called out mockingly. We're just getting reacquainted. Besides, I was hoping to tell everyone about senior year. Remember senior year, Benji? Remember the talent show? The mention of the talent show made Benji freeze. That had been Tank's masterpiece of cruelty, sabotaging Benji's science presentation so thoroughly that he'd been laughed off the stage in front of the entire school. Come on, that was hilarious, Tank continued, playing to his audience. Little Benji worked so hard on that presentation about. What was it? Solar panels? And then dash. Stop. Benji's voice was quiet but firm. Stop what? I'm just sharing a funny memory. We're all friends here, right? But Tank had pushed too far. The room could feel it. The laughter had died completely. Even Tank's few supporters looked uncomfortable. Benji Chin stood there, trembling slightly, his hands clenched at his sides. 25 years of buried humiliation and pain were written across his face. Tank had no idea that he'd just made the biggest mistake of his life. Subscribe now so you don't miss the moment Benji gets his ultimate revenge.